It is 10 p.m. and my neighbors are playing their music loud, so if you can hear the music through the walls, not my fault. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This book came out on August 30th, and it's the second book in the Ember and Ashes trilogy saga. I think there's 4 books now. Bruh. I think there's 4 books in the completed series now, unless they're gonna add more or if I'm getting wrong information. But this is the sequel. It's a fantasy series. The first one follows 2 characters, Laia and Elias. Laia's brother gets kidnapped and taken away because of this thing he has done that they see as bad. She goes to the rebels of the city to try and get help from them, and in exchange for them helping her get her brother back, she is sent to a military camp called Black Cliff, and she's sent there as a spy. And there she meets Elias, who is one of the masks, which is like a very high revered soldier, and the society is based around like loosely Roman-esque themes. Laia and Elias become friends. Shenanigans ensue, pretty much all with the intention to get her brother back eventually. He gets magical elements unfolding. I think there was a lot more of that in this one, and it was explained better in that one too. I gave the first one 5 stars. I was a huge fan. I thought it was a really promising series, but I only gave this one 3 stars. I'm gonna tell you why, but I'm gonna tell you without any spoilers, so this might be a little bit of a shorter review.
Are you filming?
Yes!
Oh!
That's why I went bruh like 4 times.
Oh, I thought you were FaceTiming.
I think, like I said, I thought the first one was really promising and it was really beautifully written and I loved the characters. I don't know if I changed or if these books changed, but I was not so much a fan of the sequels. This picks up immediately after book 1 ends, so like the action that occurs at the very end of the first book, you literally are just like thrown back into that scene where they're running. And I noticed very quickly the writing did not strike me as beautiful as I remembered the last one to be. And once again, this might have been like a shift that was going on inside me rather than the book, because over the past year I think I have had a lot less interest in reading YA fantasy, so this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, but even when I got it at BEA, I did not read it immediately. I was not very much excited for it anymore, and I'm really glad that I didn't have huge expectations going into it because I only gave it 3 stars. One of my favorite characters was Keegan. He is like a person from the rebels who helps her out, and he was just sweetie pie. Love him. I will say the character dynamics in this book, there's more betrayals, there's more alliances. You get a 3rd perspective in this book, which is Helene, who is one of the girls that went to the military camp with Elias, and there's like this love square that goes on in the book between all the 4 characters I just mentioned. This one, it kind of loses that, which you might think like, oh good, but honestly, I liked that dynamic between those 4 characters. I thought it was realistic to see Laia and Eliza, I hate myself, not everything's about Hamilton, Elias, and then Helene likes Elias, Keenan likes whatever her fate. Did I say Keegan? His name's Keenan. This review is a mess. Long story short, I felt like this book did not do justice to the first book. The characters were less memorable than I remember them being. Like, I never once was reading this thinking, wow, I love her. Wow, she's making great decisions. Wow, he's so great. Wow, he has a really healthy mindset and their relationship is so great. It was just very meh, because I think it has that 2nd book tone of like there's a lot of angst, a lot of things to be solved, a lot of new things just like building up on the previous grievances of the first book. It just felt very flat to me. Helene, like I said, got her own perspective in this book. I didn't like it. I know that it was kind of crucial to seeing a perspective that isn't Elias or Laia, but I didn't like her. Again, I understand the relevance of her perspective, but I just was bored reading it. I think that's one of the main factors of this book, was that I was skim reading this by the time I was halfway through. I ended up getting this on audiobook, so like I probably listened to about half of this on audiobook and then read some chapters in between. I do recommend the audiobooks. They're cool. They're weird because all the characters have British accents, which I would not have expected, but it is a really good pace and it helps you get into the mindset of everyone. It gets very spiritual slash paranormal in Elias's perspectives due to something that he has going on, and I didn't really like that part of it. Some things felt underexplained. I just was expecting so much more out of this book that it could not deliver. I liked the ending of this book. I liked the falling action and all the things that occurred there. That was a lot more interesting, but again, every time it switched to Helene, I was like, don't care. I was just talking to Sarah about this, but we do think that there were a couple of really good plot twists in this book. Like, for a book that was boring me a little bit, that I had to skim, it wasn't boring. Like, the things that happened were pretty interesting. They fit with the storyline, but there just wasn't enough of a punch in them. The writing style wasn't as gorgeous as it was last time. I just didn't feel engaged to pick this up all the time. I'm surprised I finished it as fast as I did, because the second half of this book was not anything special up until the very end, so I just felt like this thing had a ton of things to improve on. It's hard to put up an entire review about this because my entire feeling toward it was just meh. I'm disappointed in it. I thought it would be better than this. I don't know if I even want to continue with the rest of the series, because at this point I don't really give a crap about the characters anymore. I'm just like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I'm not very invested in their relationship. I'm not very invested in who lives, who dies, who tells your story. I think that this just was not a strong sequel. It didn't keep me interested to be able to read the rest of the books, which is so upsetting because book one was amazing, and this one will definitely not be making it into my tops of the year like the first one did. That is everything that I can share without spoiling it. If you want to talk about it more, feel free to contact me and we can go into specifics and the things that I did not like about it, but for the sake of this public review, that was how I felt about this book. I do have a review of the first one, so if you just watched this entire thing and you're like, oh, well, was the first one good? You can go watch that review. It'll be in the down bar. So thank you everyone for watching this review. Hope you're having a wonderful life, and goodbye.